my channel. I'm really excited for today's video because it's something that I've wanted to talk about since I started this channel, which is the differences between learning piano as an adult and learning as a child. For those of you who don't know, I started playing piano when I was 7 years old, and I played for 10 years before I quit. There was 12 years in between when I didn't play at all, and then I picked it up 2 years ago, and my experience has been completely different, which is what I want to share with you today. I can't say that all of these things are going to be true for everybody. I can only speak from my own experience, but I'm hoping that if there are any other adult piano learners out there, that maybe my perspective can show you that we can do this, that you don't need to start from a young age to be able to learn piano. In fact, I'd argue that we can learn even better as adults. Age is just a number. What's really important is determination and passion. That's what drives us to improve. Every person's music journey is unique, so let's embrace that. The first difference is probably the most obvious, but also one of the most important ones, which is being able to select our own music. When I was younger, I pretty much had to play anything that was put in front of me, and I would say 80% of the time I didn't really connect with it. To be fair, when we're young, we just haven't been exposed to that much music yet, so we don't really know what we want to play, and teachers are just trying to expose us to all different kinds of music. And I think that's great, but the result of that is we end up playing a lot of music that we don't connect with. The advantage of playing as an adult is we now have more knowledge of the kinds of music that interests us, or even if we don't, we can go out and explore for ourselves. There's so many resources out there now for us, like YouTube or Spotify, where you can just get lost down a rabbit hole and explore different kinds of music, different composers, different styles, to get an idea and figure out what really resonates with us. Arthur Rubinstein said,
"You must never touch any piece of music which is not yours, which doesn't talk to you. You must have a direct contact of love with the composer, with his work."
And I couldn't agree more. When we play a piece of music that we connect with emotionally, it inspires us, it motivates us, it makes us want to sit at the piano, and hours of practice feels like minutes. When I was young, my dad used to tell me if I wasn't good at something right away, I would want to quit. He wasn't wrong. I had so little patience back then, and I would get frustrated really easily. And as you know, learning a musical instrument requires a lot of patience. Thankfully, patience is something that I've gained as I've gotten older. Part of that is just from life experience and understanding and accepting that learning new things just takes time. The other part of that is just being less critical of myself. I know this isn't necessarily going to be true for everybody. There's tons of adults out there that are extremely hard on themselves. I used to be one of those people, but it's something that I actively work on every day to try to improve. There's nothing helpful about negativity. In fact, it can become a mental barrier that prevents us from improving. We can get all of the compliments and encouragements from everybody in the world, but we're not going to believe them if we're constantly telling ourselves, "I'm not good enough," or "I can never play that." What I've learned with age is our perspective becomes our reality. So if we want to become great at piano, we need to feel like we are, or in the very least, know that it's all a work in progress and that we will get there eventually. It's just a matter of time and patience. Something that I was guilty of a lot when I was younger was comparing myself to others. This can be extremely discouraging and make you want to quit when you don't feel like you're as good as somebody else. This wasn't just in the case of piano, but in all aspects of my life. Even now, with the presence of social media, I catch myself doing it sometimes, but At least I now have the self-awareness to tell myself, stop, don't do that. I know it's easier said than done, but it's something I truly believe that we can work on and improve. It's a journey towards self-love and kindness, because when you love yourself, you are less likely to compare yourself to others. Instead, we can celebrate the beauty and success of someone else without being critical of ourselves. Self-love doesn't mean that you're a narcissist. It's actually the opposite. It means that you know you're not perfect and you accept your flaws. It means quieting the negative and critical voice that's inside of your head and knowing that that voice isn't you. My dad used to record all of my recitals when I was younger, and I remember when I watched them back, I felt so self-conscious of the way that I looked and the way that I moved my body. My whole body would move with the music, and I didn't even know that I was doing that. But when I was watching the other kids, no one else was doing it, and it made me feel like the strange one. Looking back now, I feel so silly to have ever thought that, because clearly I was just connecting and feeling the music. When you're a kid, you just don't know any better, and your differences make you feel self-conscious when in fact they should be celebrated. As a result of my self-consciousness, I held myself back and never really let myself be fully expressive as a way to avoid looking weird. But now as an adult, I know that the magic of music actually happens when we let go. It's about giving up control and getting into this flow state with the music. One of my favorite quotes about music is by Grant Rudolph, who said, "The moment of crossing a threshold with music is one of surrender. Our controlling nature gives up to a creative presence." I find that if I can get to this state with music, it feels so satisfying, and there's not much else in the world that can give me that same feeling of fulfillment or connection with life. One of the other biggest advantages I find in learning piano as an adult is that we have so much more life experiences to draw from. I mean, naturally, we've just lived more life. Making music is about expressing emotions, telling stories, making yourself and others feel something. And when you haven't gone through as many life experiences yet, it can be harder to do this. But when we've gone through things like romance, heartbreak, celebration, depression, these are all things that we can then reference when interpreting a piece of music. In my opinion, this is what makes an interpretation richer, more colorful, and more emotional. When I'm trying to interpret a piece of music, my goal isn't necessarily to create something new, but to create something personal that can hopefully then resonate with somebody else. The last point I want to touch on is my relationship and understanding of music in general. As a child, my understanding of music was very surface level. Play things technically correct and make it sound pretty. But as an adult, my perspective of life has expanded, my thinking has gotten more complex, and I started questioning things like, who am I really, and what is my purpose? My journey with music as an adult has helped answer these questions because I get to experience the source of creation every time I make music. When I'm playing and I'm really connecting with the music, I know that it's not coming from my body or from my mind. The music is coming directly from my soul, which is proof that who we are is beyond our body and our mind. I have to quote Arthur Rubinstein again because he says it so much better than I can. Music is not a hobby, not even a passion with me. Music is me. I feel what people get out of me is this outlook on life, which comes out in my music. My music is the last expression of all that. I still feel like I'm only beginning to scratch the surface of this, but I'm hoping that as I continue my journey with music, I'll also deepen my understanding of life. If you guys made it all the way to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you're an adult learning music, I hope that despite any difficulties you may be facing, you also realize there are so many advantages we have learning music at a later time in our life. Don't be discouraged. Even if my personal experience may be different from yours, know that we all have our own paths that are meant to teach us what we need to know to help us improve, better ourselves, and to grow. Keep practicing, keep learning, keep exploring, keep expressing yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.